I still
Mm.
remember those days when my teachers used to say like world, stress,
Embarrassed used to be embarrassed,
parent,
something like that. Yeah. Mm.
vegetable, comfortable.
Comfortable. I forgot that. Comfortable. And they tell me like I watched 20 videos every day, but it's still not happening. So no. Okay. So before we dive into the session, will you tell me a little bit about yourself? So where are you
Yeah,
from? What do you do?
yes.
Mm.
Shruti, coming to me, I mean, my name is Priya, and
Mm.
I'm an IELTS trainer. I
Okay.
teach IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, and all. So these
Mm.
are English language tests. So apart from these, I'm a freelancer. I work on different projects as well,
Mm.
and on top of it, I'm a YouTuber as well.
Okay.
So I make videos
So
and I create content.
how long have you been a test preparation tutor? So IELTS, TOEFL, how all
I,
have you been?
I've been doing from past 10 years. It's been 10
Wow.
years. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually I have a bit of experience with IELTS training too. So I
Oh,
just
great.
started. I have only almost 3 years of experience. I've been doing
Okay.
a bit
Yeah.
of everything here and there. So
Yes,
I
that's a very
mm,
good platform, and
mm,
sometimes people should also have a certificate like a CELTA, Delta, or
mm.
ESL certificate,
Yeah, I
TESOL.
did a CELTA.
Yeah. So if
Mm,
you're a certified trainer, you will obviously have better chances,
mm, mm. So did you do
like
a CELTA?
with the exam. I am not a completely a certified trainer, I can say, but
Mm,
I have experience and I worked in institutions.
mm.
So I get opportunities like with that experience. So people who are
Okay.
starting for the first time, then I think they
Mm,
must do the CELTA certify. I mean CELTA certification. Why?
mm.
Because they need to get a job, right? To
Yeah.
train. Since I have
Yes.
started, long back, so it's not a necessity then.
Experience trumps everything else. So once you have a foothold, then you can easily climb up. That I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
So
And
now,
how long you have been working with English Yari?
close.
Okay.
Other
Okay,
than that,
fine.
you could ask me everything.
Okay, fine. So, okay, how
Mm.
long you have started teaching, English?
It's been 3 years. So
It's
I,
been three
after I
years.
finished my graduation, I wanted to do English teaching mostly because my
Okay.
graduation
Mhm.
degree is something different. I did information technology,
Okay.
but I really loved the language when I was young, and I regret not doing a English literature degree. So I landed a job opportunity right after I finished my college. It was during the COVID period. They did not ask
Yes.
for a qualification, and they did not. They simply wanted talent, and I got
Yeah.
into the field, and I've been, strictly staying the same path. So yeah,
Yes,
that's how.
that's true.
Mm,
And so, how do you think that a person, I mean, a student,
mm,
because
mm,
since my YouTube channel is completely about English and English
mm,
learners, especially from beginner level to, expert level.
mm.
So, what kind of advice do you give for a beginner if he's starting? And obviously, this person, when somebody is, listening to conversations and
Mm,
all, he may not understand the complete conversation or the complete
mm,
sentence at least. Forget about the
mm.
conversation. So, what kind of advice you give for beginners, especially if they want to, improve their English?
I believe that they already now, because of the information era, they easily know what to do, what not to do, and they're overloaded with information when they come to us for training, and they want results too quickly. I first try calming them a little down. So no, it's not going to happen quickly. You have to be a little patient, and all the feedback we give matters. So
Yes.
reading books, magazines, watching videos, and they tell me like I watched 20 videos every day, but it's still not happening. So no, that doesn't make a difference. I believe that rather than advice, pacifying them goes a long way, making them understand how the learning process works,
Yes,
how
yes,
they're
that's
going to
true.
learn the language.
But some people I have seen out of my experience have
Mm.
also, improved their English just by watching videos. So
Yes,
I've
yes,
seen
yes.
many
Mm.
villagers and even people from countryside. They have improved a lot tremendously
Mm.
just by watching the videos which are on YouTube or any other social media.
Mm.
So, but as you said, they have to
This
work
isn't
on their skills.
applicable to everybody, right? That's what everyone expects. So when they see a video of a person saying, I learned English only by watching this, or this teacher helped me and this is the pattern we followed. Yes,
Yes,
that is true for that individual. You're not the
yes,
same as him. So you have to
that's
find
really
out
true.
what works for you.
I second that. Why? Because see, every individual, as you said, is completely different from others.
Mm,
You and I are completely different,
mm,
right? So, what works for you may not work for me. What works
Mm.
for me may not work for you. So you
Yeah.
have to, get the trainer's help, or maybe
Mm.
some who is expert,
An
in this kind
assessment
of field.
maybe, like
Yeah.
where he or she is. Mm.
Yes, that's really true. And I think
Mm.
a personal trainer is surely a good, what do you call? Everyone thinks that, spending money on these classes and all is not really worth. Why? Because once they invest money and time, they think that they should, progress.
Get something out of it.
Yeah, but finally,
Mm.
what they are not working on is like consistency. They're not
Mm.
consistent. They're not implementing the same thing in their, practical life. So when you're implementing the same thing, obviously it would work. So even
Mm.
if you go to a trainer, or let's imagine if you go to a physician and he recommends you something, and if you're not following the same steps, how can you cure your disease,
Exactly.
right?
A lot
So
of students,
people should apply.
you have experience. They hate reading. Have you encountered students who absolutely hate reading?
Personally, I have to say, even I admit I
Oh,
hate reading. I
I
hate
love
reading.
reading. That's how I learned the language. My
That's what I
language
said, right?
acquisition started through reading only. That's how I
Yeah.
started. I read a lot of novels when I was young. It started when I was 10 or 12, and from then I've
Oh,
been going strong. So my parents, they aren't well educated, or
oh,
they got educated in that time. And my father
yes.
just passed his 12th grade. My mom has a
Hmm.
degree, but she didn't really use it. So whatever
Yeah.
I know or whatever I learned, I simply picked it up by myself. So,
I understood. Yeah.
mm-mm. So everyone
So
absolutely
you
hates
you
reading.
like
Yeah.
reading. You like reading.
Mm.
So,
Yes.
tell me, if people who are so interested,
Mm.
into novels, or maybe they love reading. So what kind
Mm.
of books do you suggest for, intermediate level kind of students? So the
You
books.
mean a person who already loves reading and who already has habit
Yeah.
of reading?
Yes. Yeah.
I recommend the fantasy genre more than a self-help book or a fiction, or a romance genre or thriller genre, because fantasy stories take place in a different world. So your mind has to comprehend and understand the world the story is first set in, then understand the plot, and then understand the clues they give you based on the plot. So it's the layers of thinking. For an
Yeah.
intermediate learner, I think it will be
And plot is
challenging.
something like a story, right?
Mm.
Plot is
Yes.
like a story, because most of the people don't understand, when they say
Mm.
plot. So it's like story.
Yeah, it's a
So now
storyline. I'm
coming,
sorry.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, good, good, good.
Mm.
So what I want to ask you, Shruti, is like, as you were just explaining me about,
Mm.
what do you call, reading books and different kinds of books,
Mm.
you're giving suggestions. So do you think that if a person loves reading, obviously he would
Mm.
read any kind of book, any sort of
Mm.
book, but even the interest must be there throughout, the book, right? When
Yes.
he's reading, it should persist.
Mm.
So what kind of, book that develops the interest to read more? Because see, when you
Mm.
watch a movie also, you get bored by the, some part of that time, and you just turn off and you go away. And
Mm.
even the same applies with the YouTube as well. If person is, they're enjoying the video,
Mm.
they watch till the end. But if you're not in, it's not providing, even they, if provides value, they don't see.
Mm.
But they only see when they're enjoying it, when they're having fun.
Mm.
So that's what I think. So
Mm.
when it's not providing that kind of, fun and interaction,
Simulation.
yeah, yes, as you
Mm.
said, that one.
Mm.
So like, they skip that. So what
Mm.
kind of books do you suggest that, you can read throughout till the end, and you would surely enjoy
Ah.
that?
I would have to change your point a little. I would say don't start with reading books. If you are new to reading and if you really want to try a hand at it and you want to read fast, read a lot of books, I'd say start with short story books. The shorter versions that have just one or two, 10 or 15 stories in one book, or read blogs, magazines, and articles, things that end in a 1 or 2 pages, because a
Hmm.
story is something like you said, there is a plot, there's a story from first chapter till the last chapter, the story runs. And if you lose track, it's going to be boring. You said it's reading is boring, it's definitely going to be boring for someone who doesn't like it, and your brain will not keep attention until the end. So rather
Yes,
than
that's
starting
true.
with a big book with one whole story, start with something small. After maybe let's say 1 month of reading articles, then start the book,
Yes,
then
yeah,
start with the
that's true.
easy book, then you'll be able to read through it until the end. You will not feel it's a
Mm.
tedious job, or I have to read line by line, word by word. Okay, I forgot what is there in the first chapter. I have to go back again. So you will not have that feeling. So I always
Yes.
suggest my students to start with something small and build up. So gradually
Yes.
build up and not with something very big.
I think
Mm.
for beginners, I think children related storybooks or something like kids related books will help because
Good.
obviously
Yeah.
the grammar, the sentence
Mm.
structure, everything will be simple.
Simple.
So when they have simple kind of things, it is easily understood because they're going to understand the complete sentence, the
Mm.
complete story. But if
Mm.
you ask them to read something like fiction related or something like a
Yeah, that
fantasy,
will be too
obviously they won't
difficult.
enjoy. Yeah.
That will be difficult and they'll not enjoy it because fantasy employs a lot of, like the name suggests, it's out of the world. So it has new
Yeah.
names, new concepts. For an advanced reader,
Yeah.
that will be interesting.
Yes, I
Mm.
understood. Yeah, and even they must understand and comprehend what they are reading, right? So obviously, if they are not, finally getting the what they
Mm.
want, obviously they wouldn't
Mm.
enjoy.
Mm.
So the main purpose of reading books is to learn English.
Yes,
But if
yes,
they're
yes.
not, by the end of the day, if they're not learning English, obviously it's waste of their time, and they also feel bored. Like, why should I do that,
Mm.
right?
How will you make,
So
what are some methods, or as with your experience, how do you make students learn vocabulary or suggest them to
vocabulary,
learning? Mm.
I feel like let me tell you my way of
Mm.
learning. So whenever I watch videos, especially I love
Mm.
watching videos. So on YouTube I just follow native speakers, and when
Mm.
they use some kind of word and which I don't know, I personally just Google it and I find.
Mm.
I learn the pronunciation, and also I learn how it is used in a context, because that is also
Yeah.
important,
Mm.
right? So after all this I apply daily. That means I
Mm.
use it throughout my day, no matter
Mm.
what it is, whatever
Mm.
context I create that
Mm.
context, and I use it
Mm.
deliberately. So if I
Mm.
use it, obviously it's going to be active now. It's not passive anymore. I've learned
Yeah.
it and I'm using it. So when I'm using it,
Mm.
it's becoming active. That means every day I
I
can
think
use it,
that's
and it
what
becomes
students need to
conscious.
understand. Active versus passive vocabulary. I always try not to use technical terms. So active vocabulary is the words that we constantly use, that we don't have to
Use, yeah.
think, and it
Good, bad,
directly comes
sad,
to our,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, all the simple words. Passive vocabulary are the words that we know the meaning of, but we don't actively use them when we are speaking. Maybe if I ask
Yeah.
you for a word meaning now, maybe you will be able to give me the proper explanation, but it
Yeah.
will not come when we are speaking. So
Yes,
turning
of
all
course.
your passive vocabulary into active will be a very good start point for all students.
Yeah. But I think initially people should not mostly focus on vocab, because see,
Mm,
vocab matters only when, maybe you're in a profession like this,
mm,
as a trainer or something like,
mm,
into where English is I mean, it is a mandatory thing. You have to improve daily, as you said, like daily you have to
mm,
be a learner. But let's imagine if you're into corporate world or something, you need not do that. It's not required. You just have to,
mm.
your
But
grammar should be okay.
mm,
See, again, it's a fantasy. Again, it's an option, because
mm,
some people love to improve themselves,
yes.
want to be fluent, want to be,
Mm,
like something like
mm,
professional, and want to, focus on all the things like
mm,
pronunciation, vocabulary, and all. But my kind of thing is, first of all, first complete this hurdle of, speaking fluent
mm,
English. Right. For fluent English, you need not have vocabulary. Vocabulary is, you should have
mm.
basic vocabulary, but you should not focus on, what do you
Yeah, I
call,
think
fancy
that would be
and other words.
the key point. Basic vocabulary, especially for very beginner students who have studied in native medium or who are very native speakers and then starting, they need their own basic arsenal. I mean, their own tools to speak with. The first set of basic words,
Hmm.
elementary words, maybe A1, A2 type of words. And once
Hmm.
they're set with that, I think they can simply just learn along the way. They don't have to particularly focus on
The
learning
fluent words.
vocabulary
Yeah.
separately. Mm.
Yeah. But obviously, finally, everyone wants only one thing, that is, I want to be fluent in
Fluency.
English. Fluency. Because nobody asks that I want to improve, vocab. I
Mm.
want to improve my pronunciation. I want to improve my accent. They are people, but
Mm.
you can count on numbers. That's it.
Yes,
But if you take
they all
mostly,
verbalize it through "I want to be fluent."
that's it.
That's a key highlight.
Yeah.
It's also, but I think the number of students or the determination you see is increasing, right? A lot of people want to
Yeah.
learn English these days,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everybody is like, you don't even have to push them to do something; they're ready to do what is needed. And even
Yeah.
if they're working professional,
And
they take
mostly
some
I
time
think
out.
children, the parents are also into their mothers and fathers. They're into this English learning again because
Yeah.
they feel like to communicate with their kids.
Mm.
They need to match their level because kids are
Mm.
so smart these days. Earlier, we didn't have that kind of exposure and environment
Yeah.
where we speak good English. But
Mm.
nowadays, even if you go to a nook and corner and even in a village, I see kids who are speaking fluent English with a great accent. It's
Mm.
only because of watching YouTube videos, because that's the only primary thing. That because if you take the parents, they don't verbally speak and they don't even know the words. But imagine a kid is speaking, a 2 year
They,
old, a 3 year old kid is
these
speaking.
days, KGs, that is PKG, LKG, first standard, children are actually being taught pronunciation with a
Yeah.
chart, the vowel chart,
Yes.
the sound chart. And we did not have that facility. But now they are being
Yes.
taught the correct pronunciation. It's not the
Yes.
parent, or it's not what do we call it? We had many different words, right? Said some sort of an Indian accent that creeps in to our English. But nowadays students don't have that. They speak good English.
I still
Mm.
remember those days when my teachers used to say like world, stress,
Embarrassed used to be embarrassed,
parent,
something like that. Yeah. Mm.
vegetable, comfortable,
Comfortable. I forgot that. Comfortable. Yes. And environment.
comfortable. Yeah,
Uh,
and we say environment because we have
mm.
known now that's a wrong word.
Yes.
Environment. Even other words, I've seen other YouTube videos as well, where they say it's not calcium, it's calcium,
Mm.
magnesium,
Mm.
calcium, magnesium. So I was surprised. Even when I just turned on the Indian English pronunciation, I could still feel that it's wrong because it's not
Yeah.
calcium, it is calcium. So
Mm.
like that, there are many words that we have mispronounced throughout our life, and
Throughout
now we are
lives, and we don't
unlearning them.
realize.
We are unlearning them, and again we are learning fresh.
Mm.
The correct right pronunciation.
Even sometimes I find myself saying the wrong pronunciation by mistake, because it's something that either people surrounding us say, and we have been hearing it, and maybe we are speaking for very interestedly about a topic, and it just slips. And I'm so mortified that I did that, but I can't take it back anymore. So
No
that
problem. See,
happens.
mistakes those does happen with everyone. So it's just a learning process that happens. Sometimes we maybe unknowingly, as you said, it happens.
Mm.
So, but we are conscious, no. So we know what's
Mm.
wrong and what's right.
Mm.
So we can make it happen. But the only thing is, students suffer a lot with the grammar. I don't know how they're going to overcome that. But people say that you should not study grammar. Yes, of course. There's nothing, that you have to keep a chart like tenses and, worry
Mm.
about past perfect, future perfect, and all.
Yeah.
Just try to use it. Gradually, you're going to learn it. So when you see any video, or if you read, as you said, like you love reading.
Mm.
So people who are reading, they can just see the sentence and try to rephrase it,
Mm.
because rephrasing will also help to develop vocabulary, and also
Mm.
you can frame the thing according to the grammar. That means grammatically the sentence must be
Mm.
accurate, right? So if you start doing that slowly, not like big sentences, you need not have big sentence, a small
Yeah.
sentence, or if it's a big sentence, you can take chunks of it and then you can slowly practice it. So this way people can improve. And also, I have noticed many learners, especially when they come, right, they always be zealous of learning something new. But
Mm.
when it comes to application, right, again they fail.
They
They think
disconnect
that,
actually.
yeah,
They really learn it well, they know the concept, but when it comes to speaking, that is different, this is different. I'm speaking, I don't remember what I learned. So that disconnect is pretty obvious. So then when
yeah.
we ask questions, okay, this is present tense, right? And they'll be like, yes, 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 it's
Mm,
present tense. I don't know why
mm,
I used it. So there should be someone pushing to ask questions.
mm,
Okay, what tense is this, or what is
that's
that word?
true. You
Yeah.
need to have a trainer because,
Mm.
see, obviously, it's not a trainer. At least in their house, if somebody is there, like as I
Mm.
said, like kids earlier,
Mm.
kids are teaching their parents.
Mm.
My
Yeah.
learners over there, or mothers, they were saying that to match my kid, I have to learn English.
Mm.
For that reason, I have joined your classes. And I was surprised. Is it
to
really
teach to
true?
teach children, and children are very inquisitive, right? They keep engaging with us, and it's also
Yeah.
easy to learn from children's English book.
That's true. That's true.
That's easier actually. If you
Yeah.
have a child at home who's in school, open their English book. You'll find a lot of good things.
Yeah. As earlier, when you quoted a point as well, where saying that now students, I mean, kids are especially learning with phonic sounds.
Hmm.
That's really true because
Hmm.
earlier when we have did our schooling, like they used to teach us cat,
Hmm.
cat,
Yeah.
bat, like that. But now they say k, a, t,
Yeah.
cat, b, a,
Hmm.
t, bat. So this kind of learning really struck me a lot. Like, yes, this is the right way of teaching, spellings especially. And
Yes.
also with the phonic sounds, if you learn the spelling, you can never forget it. You can never forget
True.
it. It's
True.
very
True.
easy. And for the reading process also, it becomes very easy if you learn with the phonic sounds. But
Hmm.
if you memorize things right, cat cat, bat, rat, at some or the
That
other
was
point of time, you would forget it.
that was traumatizing. Now I realize that was traumatizing after going through all the English training. Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Priya. I hate to break this up. We were having
Yeah.
such a good conversation,
Sure,
but
sure, sure. Yeah, I
yeah,
understood. You have another session, or maybe
yes,
you want to wrap up this.
yeah, I should go to the next session. But I hope I get to see you again in a new session.
Yeah, sure,
Hmm?
sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Shruti.
All right, then take care.
Bye. Good
Bye.
night.